All right, welcome in. Welcome back to the BFR Podcast presented by Sports Mockery and Fanatics. My name is Dave. I cover the Bears for SM, joined by my good friend, co-host Ficky. Follow him on all socials at It's Ficky Baby. And of course, the man in the middle, the man of the hour, Windy City Productions on YouTube, Bears content creator, is back on the show for like the fifth or sixth time. Always a pleasure, man. How you doing?
Doing well, man. I'm excited for this game coming up. You know, it's been a very pessimistic last week as Bears fans, I feel like, so I can't wait to hopefully see the Bears turn this thing around on offense.
Man, that's what I was talking off air before we, went live. It feels like we're kind of still having the same conversations that we always do when you're on, which is, the Bears quarterback situation still up in the air. We have the offensive line issues, coaching, play caller. It's almost like this, rinse and repeat almost. But I think there's some optimism, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but like, losing to the Texans, we all kind of thought, it would be 1-1 or hope that's like the best case scenario because Houston was obviously going to be a contender. But like when we lost, I was pissed off. I was like, oh, this is really bad. And then like a couple days go by, and I don't know if you guys have the same, feeling, like, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm like, okay, it's not the end of the world. We can go 2-1 now, and I just get that positivity back. I don't know if that's just Bears fans, but you guys kind of feel that same way.
Oh, absolutely. I tweeted about our next 6 games, and I felt even more positive, right? It's like, I think, you can see a lot of winnable games, whether you say 5-1, 4-2, or even 3-3, right? That's a really good position to be in. I think the problem about how we, like the anger that bubbled up, right, from that game is how we lost. It's the 2000 Bears loss. You know what I mean? It's not modern NFL, even though the passing isn't as high as it normally is. You still would expect to get like 150 passing yards. You know what I mean? So I think it's because it's the same questions that we've had for like years and years and years, and they're not answered. I'd rather lose and be like, well, at least we got our quarterback, at least our offensive line is decent, but it's early. So I'm not freaking out, but I think that's kind of more of the issue. It's not about the loss, but like how we lost.
Yeah, I wasn't even mad, I'd say, at the last loss. Like after the game, I was not even like panicking that much. Cause I predicted the Bears to lose by, a touchdown. Now, obviously, I had the Bears scoring more points than, what did we have, like 10 points or whatever? So, like, obviously, we should have scored a lot more points. The offense still looks like shit, but it is to be expected to some extent because we do have a rookie quarterback in here. We have a offensive line that's not been that good so far. We have brand new weapons as well. So, like, I wasn't expecting it to be, rolling right away. I think if we're still having the same conversations by week 6, 7, 8, then it is time to panic. And then maybe we made the wrong hire in Shane Waldron. Maybe our offensive line is just not going to be good the entire season. So until that moment, I'm not going to be mad at any loss, especially when you're going up against the Texans, a Super Bowl contender, and lose to that team by 6 points. Like, that's a hell of a performance, I feel like, by the Bears. Like, I'm not even too mad about that, I'd say.
That's fair. I don't know why I was pissed. I don't know. Like, I was not in the mood, dude. I think the reason I was so upset, and I don't want to, talk too much on Houston because we already did our post-game show and everything, but it's just you were so bad on offense and you still had a chance to win the game. Like, and then how we ended it, we all know with the Rome big play, right? And then it was followed by a drop by Gerald Everett, and then it was a sack, like a really bad sack, like a Justin Fields type. Didn't even see it coming. Darnell Wright whiffed on his tackle, and then I think we had a what happened after that sack?
The DJ pass. You had in there
DJ
too.
Pass? Yeah.
You remember
anyways,
we threw it to DJ? Yeah. And it was.
Oh, yeah, and his reaction. Yeah. But anyways, moving on. We are on to Indianapolis, the Bears versus Colts. Down in Indy. Should be a really good one. We're going to go over the Bears injury report to start, kind of give our thoughts on it. We'll start with UDWC. If we want to pull up the injury report from Friday, Jack, perfect. So notables here, Keenan Allen, of course, who's dealing with a heel injury. Tevin Jenkins is full practice. He has no game designation, so he's good to go. Travis Homer, interesting one because he's actually got a couple reps in the last couple weeks. I think like 5 or 6 in each game. But he is out. He's actually going to IR with, I think he had surgery on his finger. And then we have Zach Pickens, and then Kari Blasingame for the second straight week is out. And then Nate Davis is questionable. So DWC, I want to start with you. How are you feeling? I asked this question on Twitter. Are you worried about Keenan Allen?
A little bit, but it's also what I expected going into this year. I didn't expect him to play a full 17 games. Now it's kind of sucking that he's injured this early into the season. It's only week 3 and he's already, injured. I think I read that he had like plantar fasciitis or something similar, like a heel whatever that is, you know, it's obviously not good, and that could be lingering throughout the entire season. So it's not ideal, you know, but I would rather have him be out in these games early where our offense is still figuring shit out. Like, it's still a lot of season to go, rather than being out later on when we're trying to make a playoff push. So I'm not too mad about it. We only gave up a 4th-round pick for him. We have Roma Dunze here, who should be more than good enough to still score points with on this offense. We still have DJ Moore, still got Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett. Like, Caleb still has enough weapons to be good for us. So I think it's going to depend on the play calling, the offensive line. Obviously, it looks like Nate Davis will be playing if he's questionable. So I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Okay, I think we still do have enough weapons to move the ball down the field.
I don't know, DWC. According to Chris Collinsworth on Sunday Night Football, not having Keenan Allen's the reason why we lost that game. So
I was at a watch party, so I couldn't even hear the commentary.
He's like, man, the Bears really wish they had Keenan now. I'm like, no, we wish we had a competent offensive line who could block a stunt, please.
I remember when he said that. I tweeted that right away. I was like, no way. I don't know. Collinsworth was actually really nice on Sunday Night Football. He was really just like kissing Caleb's ass the whole game, which I was like, all right, I'll take it. You know, we're used to the other way around, but he was really making a lot of excuses for Caleb, really just back in his corner. You know, if he dumped it off, he praised it, you know, a lot of high praise there. It was fun. But yeah, that comment right there, I was like, nah, no way. We need an offensive line, brother. Like, this is horrible.
Maybe he got confused. He probably meant Hall of Famer Larry Allen. That was his problem. He was thinking about the wrong Allen. That's
wrong Allen.
That's obviously the problem. Yo, Jack, you want to bring that question up though real quick? Because when I posted the injury report today, I saw so many comments about this, and I was actually quite surprised. But everybody's like, thank God Travis Homer is out. Which, sure, right? He got a couple of snaps. It's not like this man's taking up a buttload of these snaps, right? But I was kind of surprised, like, the hate on Travis Homer, and I get it because Roschon Johnson didn't play, I believe, at all in the last game, and he got punched, right? Didn't play and got sucker punched. So a horrible day for him. And then obviously we didn't see that many reps from Khalil either. So obviously you guys aren't happy that an injury is happening for Travis, but do you think this actually means anything? I mean, this is running back 3 or 4, how you want to put it.
I'll let you go, Rashad.
Yeah, I think it does, right? Because, you know, Kari is also out as well. Like, our fullback is out as well. So, like, you would think that Roschon's going to be in here now in pass protection to some extent. Now, you know, last game, he still barely got any snaps, even with, you know, Kari out. And now we have Travis Homer out. So I think, you know, he will be forced. Shane Waldron will be forced to put Roschon in, you know, here and there, because Khalil, we know, is not a great pass protector. Swift is, you know, we haven't really seen him too much, I feel like, in pass protection, but he's been, you know, I guess okay at the very best. But Roschon is our best, you know, best pass protecting back by far, I would say. And I've been, you know, criticizing Shane Waldron for not giving these other running backs these snaps, right? Because DeAndre Swift has not been very efficient so far. I know it's not only his fault, but he's averaging like 1 yard per carry or something. Like, last game was so bad. I saw some clips floating around on Twitter where there were some holds to, you know, go into, which Swift just completely missed. So I'm not going to say Swift was a bad signing just yet, 2 games in, but I want to see, you know, Herbert get some carries, Roschon get some carries, because these guys also have a level of talent, especially Herbert. Like, he's been one of the most efficient backs in football, and a lot of fans treat him like he absolutely sucks, which I don't think that's the case, right? So I do think we have to kind of share the backfield next game and see if we can get something going against the league's worst run defense by far in the Colts. They allowed 250 yards, I think, on the ground to the Packers last game and lost to Malik Willis. So, you know, Bears should be able to run the football even without, you know, Homer in this game.
Yep. I think they're the 31st worst defense by EPA for run defense. So if we can't run on them, I mean, our run game has been like 30th, I think, or something like that. But if we can't run on them, then I'm, you know, red flags are going crazy. Like, I'm sounding the alarm because we might be screwed at that point.
No, I think the Bears are, and we'll get to kind of our game preview a little bit later, but yeah, I think they're going to want to establish the run early, at least stick to it for a quarter and a half, because that's the best friend that's like Caleb's best friend right now. Rookie quarterback, you hear it all the time. Being able to run the football is just going to help him. Also allow the defense, which Indy doesn't blitz a lot. I don't expect them to blitz this game. They might, because their secondary is very, very susceptible. Probably the weakest part of that defense. So I wouldn't expect it, but if they can get a run game going, it will kind of, the defense isn't going to pin their ears back like they did in Houston and Tennessee and just kind of go at Caleb. But we'll see. I think that'll be interesting. So Keenan Allen, the heel injury. What about Nate Davis? Because I think there's been talk. I don't think it's official, but we might see some Matt Pryor this weekend. I don't know if it's because Nate just being questionable, but there has been talk. Are you guys wanting to make a switch right now, or do you want to continue that 5 that has been out there?
I'm always an advocate of keeping it continuous. And why you hear that talk or the chatter about it is because I believe on the press conference today, Flus said Matt Pryor has improved significantly. So knowing Nate Davis and being questionable, and then hearing your coach mention how well the backup has improved, there's going to be obviously talk and speculation about it. But personally, even though Nate Davis hasn't been that great, and I've been on the Nate Davis train, which I'm either getting ran over or getting kicked off right now, I still feel like he is our best option. So if we can just, it's more about the offensive line and their communication and the scheme with Shane Waldron. Something's just not connecting there. I don't think it's a talent issue. Not saying it's the best, Nate Davis, the best player out there, or even Coleman Shelton, but missing stunts and not knowing your assignments and not blocking one on plays. That's not a talent issue. That's not knowing your assignments and not understanding the play call, or the play call not being designed right for whatever defensive alignment is there, or you're not communicating who should have this or that or that. So I'm hoping, it's early in the NFL season. Hopefully that can get resolved. Like DWC said, week 6, and we're we're rolling on the back half, but we're hoping to see less of we're not blocking anyone. That's never a good sign.
Totally agree with that. I think that Matt Pryor, he obviously was good in the preseason. He was good in training camp, but we've kind of learned recently that preseason reps do not really mean that much in the grand scheme of things. The last time he played in an actual game, I think it was with the 49ers or whatever else team. He was not that good when he started these games, right? So he's a decent backup option. But if you guys are expecting Matt Pryor to go in there and be a Pro Bowl caliber player, that's obviously not going to happen. I don't think it's going to be that much better than Nate Davis if he does have to go in there. So just like Ficky said, I would rather have Nate Davis out there and try to get the chemistry going, try to get the communication going, rather than changing things up every single game. Because like you said, also I feel like our O-line does have some level of talent. It's just coming down to communication, making simple mistakes. Because aside from Coleman Shelton, nobody else is getting dog walked the entire game backwards, right? Shelton is the only one that's been struggling heavily in terms of against just getting bull rushed, but the other guys do have talent. They're just not mentally aware for whatever reason. So, I think our O-line is going to get better throughout the season. I don't think it's going to be this bad, by week 6, week 7, but you just hope that it's, early enough for Caleb to still have a good rookie season, because if it continues like this, he's going to get killed out there, taking 7 sacks and getting hit 50 times per game.
Well, Dave, for you as well, and DWC, you're absolutely correct. I feel like, and we'll talk about this with matchups, you couldn't have had for offensive line a worse matchup week 1 and week 2. Week 1, you go against probably the best interior lineman, and then Tavondre Sweat also looked great. So you basically had 2 dynamic dudes on the inside. And then week 2, you get 18 sack man last year, Danielle Hunter, with Will Anderson, who looked amazing last year, defensive rookie of the year, and you have them on your edges. And not only that, D'Amico Ryans, who normally doesn't blitz, decides to blitz more than he probably has in his whole career against your rookie quarterback. So you're hoping this line, obviously, we know, and we'll talk about it. It's missing Buckner. It's not as good. It's not. So you're hoping that they'll fluctuate back to the mean of being average, because just the lack of talent that they have in front of them.
You're 100% right. Those first 2 matchups were, hell. But at the same time, this is the NFL. There's just talent everywhere. And then you got the Lions. Aiden Hutchinson twice, this year. So at the end of the day, you just have to be competent. You have to be better than you were the last 2 weeks. Because when you go against top tier talent, you just can't shit the bed like they have the last 2 weeks. As you saw, they did have a chance to win. I guess both. They won one game. They had a chance to beat the Texans, who are a contender. but typically you are going to get blown out if you have a game on offense like you did against the Texans, right? Luckily enough, the Bears defense is insanely talented and probably top 5 right now. You could argue. So it is good, but you're right, Ficky. This should be a get right game for the Bears offense. Now I want to move over to the Colts injury report, which is actually pretty significantly less. However, they are missing DeForest Buckner, which you talked about, Ficky. He is going to be on IR, which I think is a huge break for the Bears. Latu, is that correct?
Yeah, Latu. Yep.
Yeah, I was actually looking at James Boyd. He had a little update here. They're questionable to play. Both Pittman and him Latu actually limited, and I think Pittman he didn't practice today. Mm-hmm. So those are the 2 ones that are, keep an eye on. Everyone else is going to be there. We actually got a kicker on the injury report, which is, I think that's rare. And then, but like I said, Latu and then Pittman. I think Pittman would be huge because Anthony Richardson, he likes to go deep. You got Alec Pierce over there, who is also a good weapon. But I think it's just matchup wise, guys. I mean, the Colts are healthy, but they also are missing some key pieces. So this kind of goes up to kind of the matchup. This DWC, correct me if I'm wrong here. Do you feel like more confident in this game, like winning this game, and not just winning it, but like scoring points than you did the last 2 weeks?
100%, like 1,000%. I mean, this defense, if you look at it, like it's with EPA per play against the pass, they're I think second worst in the league. So even against the pass, they've been pretty bad. Against the run, we've already talked about that. They allowed 200 plus to the Packers. So, on paper, this is definitely a defense that the Bears should be scoring a lot of points against. And obviously, like I think they will blitz Caleb. Like they're gonna see what worked against Caleb in that Texans and Titans game and try to replicate the same game plan. So unless Shane Waldron goes back to the drawing board and, calls up a different type of game plan, unless Caleb is better, unless the O-line is better, it won't matter that the Colts defense is this bad. But if you just look at the Colts last 2 games, like they have not been a good defense whatsoever. So I am thinking like the Bears should be scoring, 20 plus, 24 plus points per game, in this game. Just with all the weapons we have and like how much we hyped up this offense. Like you guys remember in the off season, we were talking about Caleb passing for 4,000 passing yards, like doing all this great stuff, which right now looks like it's impossible with how bad we have been, but this should be a good matchup for the Bears 100%.
Yeah, let's get to 400 passing yards first. How about that? How about that? You know what I mean? Jeez.
The offense as a whole around the NFL has just been down. I know it's been a huge.
Yeah. Why though?
I love Mel too. That is just nuts.
Great. But look, and not to go too off topic here, but what stops cover 2? Running the ball. So the issue is with this league is that it became so pass heavy that defenses then started to adjust and say, hey, look, we don't have to worry about the run so much. So they do 2 deep. They don't have to have one safety down like in a cover 1 or a cover 3 or a cover 0. Like this is because the offense has decided to abandon the run. So then when the defense starts to overcorrect, now the offense is like, whoa, what should we do? And it's like, I don't know, maybe run the ball. So it's just funny to see that, like this cat and mouse type of ordeal. And it's like, so I think we're going to see, I know we're seeing 2,000 Bears right now with like our defense and horrible offense. We might actually start to see 2,000 NFL where teams are starting to run a lot more because of how much teams are focused on the pass right now.
Yeah.
Bring back Luke Getsy.
Bring back what?
Luke Getsy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, technically he's doing better than Shane Waldron.
Yeah.
We're 2 games in, so I am trying to like calm it down. But it's hard to judge anything with Shane because of how poor the offensive line, is currently. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I want to kind of get to the keys of the game, to matchups. Before we do, Ficky, you want to go ahead and
do our little read here.
Talk about our Patreon. Yeah, real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, if you're in here on a Friday night watching the 3 boys talk about football, we appreciate it. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. I don't know why I called us that, the 3 boys, but
the 3 boys.
The 3 boys. That's it. Trademarked. It's
Jack.
And Jack. But we appreciate it. We really do. If this is your first time watching, again, thank you. Leave a hashtag New Face Gang in the chat, and we'll make sure to give you a shout out before the end of the show. And we do that every show. And also, if you're an OG watching, which means this is your second time watching, or you've watched all 98 episodes, or whatever episode we're on. We appreciate it. Give a hashtag OG in the chat. And we'll
96.
96, Akeem Hicks show. So we'll give you a shout out at the end as well. Also, if you want to support Dave and I and the BFR team, we do have merch, which I'm wearing a shirt right now on the BFRstore.com. Again, the BFRstore.com. We got hats, hoodies, stickers, shirts, everything you could ever want. You buy it for your friends, buy it for yourself, buy it for your dog. We don't care. We appreciate it. All the money and proceeds go back to the show, to making it so much better and bringing value to y'all. And then also, if you want to join our exclusive community, we do have a Patreon. That's the BFR Den on Patreon. And next week, we have our mailbag episode. In 2 weeks, we'll have our free giveaway. We also have our private call for our exclusive Hall of Fame Grizzly members. So if you want to join in there, you can join for free as well. But we do have a rookie tier and a Hall of Fame tier that has a whole bunch of great stuff in there. Access to our private Discord, which Dave, Jack, and I are on. You can ask us anything, talk to us in there as well. So we do appreciate that. So again, the links will be in the description to both the store and the Patreon. And again, if you don't want to support us fiscally, that's totally okay. We just appreciate you being here. So just give a like and subscribe, because it does help the algorithm to make sure we can reach out to more fans like y'all, and we can keep building this community. So appreciate it.
There's a comment here. Is that song "When I'm Back in Chicago"? Did you see Plastic Rockets over here? I almost want to blast that real quick. It's such a good song.
I listened to it today. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no,
and then
the
also,
support's been. Oh, go ahead.
I would say this too. Engage, who is one of our members. So if you want to check in with him, he'll tell you how awesome it is in the Patreon. But he said he got his hat today and is nice as hell. So he won the free hat from last month. So again, bunch of great stuff in there. I see a lot of you guys are joining. I think we got like 20 or so members in there right now. So really do appreciate it. Trying to grow it and just build out a community. So we appreciate the love and support.
Yeah, no, like I said, the support's been unreal. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. And for podcasts, I think that's pretty cool. Pretty good, especially for a Bears team that is typically bad. The fact you all want to listen to this so often is really cool. We appreciate it. And of course, like I said, episode 96, we're excited to do something pretty big for episode 100. Kind of cool to see how far we've come. And again, the support's been unreal. So now I want to get to kind of some game insights before we get to our keys to the game. So DWC, Ficky, I'm just going to go through some stuff both on the Bears and the Colts side. Now, these are insights from our guys at Pro Football Network. They kind of share some stuff to me and Ficky, and we just kind of want to share it because it's actually really good, interesting things. So first, I want to start with the Bears. The Bears that we have here. The Bears, this is not a good one. The Bears have been outscored by 20 points in the first 30 minutes of the game this season and are plus 21 in the final 30 minutes.
Kind of the cool. opposite of what we normally see. It's normally like, we get a lead and then we blow it.
Yeah, so I'd have thought that was very odd. Now it's a small.
I'd rather have this. Yes, small sample size, of course, but I'd rather have this.
Yeah, I want to go to the quarterback now. Caleb Williams has returned an underwhelming grade according to the custom analytics that Pro Football Network uses for both weeks. But he has completed. This is a positive here. 19 of 23 first down passes. So that's 82.6%. So on first down, he is 19 of 23. And I think it's important to get him going early and stay above the sticks here. Like these 3rd and 15s that we've gotten ourselves in, which penalties were a big thing last week for both teams. But it is cool to see at least a little positive there from the rookie quarterback. Now on offense, twice this season, a team has failed to reach 3.2 yards per play. The Bears in week 2, they got 3.1, and the Bears in week 1 versus Tennessee had 2.8. Not great. Since 2000, only the 2002 Texans at 2.7 and the 2006 Raiders at 2.7 have averaged fewer yards per play through the first 2 games than this year's Bears, who again were at 3 yards per play. Wow. Again, these insights are not great. But it's getting
offenses in the past, though. So it's crazy to think that this year's is actually an even worse start than those offenses.
Yeah, it's like we've had just the bottom of the barrel.
Is there just
how do you get weapons?
Worse? They just can't work together.
Yeah, too many weapons on the outside, none on the line. That's the problem.
Not enough weapons
the talent's all everywhere else. Yeah, that's the problem.
Let me get to the defense real quick here on the Bears, though. The Bears rank second in defensive EPA per play, 0.26, behind only the Chargers. It's Chicago's best defensive EPA per play through 2 games since at least 2000. That I thought was very, very impressive because there's been some really, really good defenses in the past. Most recently, 2018, of course. Again, small sample size with 2 games, but I mean, they're on a really, really hot course. So let's see here. For some betting, people that love betting, for the second straight week, Caleb Williams and the Bears are playing inside, at Lucas Oil. Rookie QBs are 11-5-1 in their past 17 games. And let's see here. Chicago lost, of course, by 6 points to Houston, covering that spread at 6.5. So moving on to the Colts insights before we get to our own keys. These are actually really, really, really interesting as well. So as a team, the Colts are 0-2 this season, despite holding 2 of the top 10 per play offensive games of the season. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, they're pretty robust, really.
Yeah. 0-2, but I don't think it's your typical 0-2 team. Moving to the quarterback, Anthony Richardson, who is going to be really fun to watch this week. I'm excited to see him battle Caleb, but Richardson has been blitzed on 7 dropbacks this season. He's 0-6 with 2 interceptions on that play. I want to stop it there because I think Flus is going to zero on that because he was not afraid to blitz C.J. Stroud, even Will Levis, who, of course, resulted in an interception, a pick 6. So I thought that one, again, Richardson is, when he is blitzed, which he was blitzed 7 times, he is 0-6 with 2 interceptions on those plays.
I think Caleb's stats are pretty bad, too, when he's blitzed. Like, Caleb in a clean pocket is pretty good, but and he was blitzed. That's why he was blitzed so much. Like, I think the NFL is seeing that rookie quarterbacks, even if you're not typical blitzer, it's like, make them think. And so it makes sense. It makes sense why
or just do a stunt and you're going to get to him
against us. Yeah, just do a stunt and you'll get to us for sure. But I'm not surprised by that. We'll see though, because Flus normally, he'll blitz, but he normally isn't like high on the blitz category. He likes to bring pressure with just his 4. But it'll be interesting to see because he's had.
So I was doing some research because actually when I saw this from our guys at PFN, they about the blitz, I was like, because you see Caleb, you see Anthony Richardson, and I'm not sure if you guys watched any of his tape the last 2 weeks, but there are some turnover-worthy plays on both of them. So the funny thing is, according to PFF, Pro Football Focus, Caleb and Anthony Richardson are actually tied for second in NFL in turnover-worthy throws, which not great, but it does show you it's kind of boom or bust with these two right now. Especially Anthony Richardson.
Well, you know what's good though? At least they don't. Well, Anthony Richardson might be. I think he has 5 picks, but at least Caleb.
Anthony Richardson has 5 picks.
I think so. He had 3. He had 3 last week, didn't he?
Yeah, he got 3 last week. One was on a Hail Mary, so I guess that doesn't really count.
Oh yeah, no, it counts.
Yeah, but yeah. So
unless you're a Bears quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so I think Caleb, had 2 turnovers. We know, so it wasn't a great day. But the game before he didn't have any, and that was such a big key thing. So turnover-worthy plays, obviously you want to cut those down, but it's better than the alternative. And I'm saying that not with other quarterbacks in the league, but other rookie quarterbacks, because they've all looked bad. But I'm pretty sure Caleb has the least amount of turnovers when it comes to fumbles and interceptions. So hopefully that can continue, because obviously that's how games are lost immediately.
Yeah.
So
no, you're right. Real quick, I'll finish these up. Then we'll go to our keys to the game. Offense for the Colts. I know we're just 2 weeks into the seasons, but the Colts are operating by far at the fastest pace. This is really cool. So basically, they're averaging. It's basically 24.9 seconds of possession per play. They were the third. They're the 3rd fastest a season ago, but this market, they're the quickest in the NFL as far as operating, getting to the line, calling it since 2020, which was actually the Dak Prescott Cowboys. So they are fast. They are very, very fast. I think they take advantage of that with their personnel. Now, their defense, since the start of last season, no team has played more zone than the Colts, 83.2%. And it's not close. The Panthers rank 2nd at 80.1%. So going to see a lot of zone. See if the Bears can kind of, see what they can do with that. Yeah. So if you want to go betting odds against the Colts, take the over in 8 of their last 11 games, which they failed to cover. The total has gone over the closing number. So again, thank you for them for all those insights on both of those teams. I think it's really, really interesting to see when you dive into some of these analytics. But DWC, I want to start with you. You're going into this game. You're talking the locker room. What is your key matchup, either on offense or defense, or you can give me both, that you think the Bears have to do for be able to kind of come away from Indy with a win?
Well, key matchup would be on the outside. So DJ Moore against, I think their number one corner is Jalen Jones. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I mean, I know they got Kenny Moore at nickel, but on the outside, they got Jalen Jones, who is not our Jalen Jones, by the way. It's a different one. I think he went to Texas A&M. I think he got drafted last year, I believe. But according to the analytics, I looked this up. Like, he has been the worst corner in all of football, according to most of the metrics, right? So I feel like, if it's Roma Dunze against him, DJ Moore against him, like, those guys should be getting open on the outside. Like, there should be wide open guys streaking down the field at certain points in this game. Obviously, if Caleb has a chance to even stay in the pocket and actually throw the football down the field. So, if our guys can get open in this game down the field, there should be like 30, 40, 50 plus yard bombs going down the field. I mean, Caleb's deep accuracy so far has been pretty shit. I'm not going to lie. Like, he's been very bad at anything past like 20 yards, but in college football, that was never his problem. Like, he was a pretty accurate football, throw a pretty accurate football going down the field, right? So I think it's one of those things where he just has to get that chemistry and that timing down in the NFL and like kind of get his confidence back too. I feel like he's thinking a little bit too much right now about what's happening and, trying to prove a lot to the rest of the NFL, where I feel like if he just like calms down and plays his game, the Bears should be able to win this game and, get these big explosive plays going down the field.
No, spot on. Spot on.
I agree. I want to see a Rome game here. Like, obviously, if Rome goes off, it means Caleb goes off,
But can he get open, though, Is he able to get open? Is he good enough to get open?
Shout out to Rome's dad, though. I love that he went at Dano because that was just reckless to say. I don't know what is like. I don't even know what Dan was thinking.
I like Dan too because I'm like,
I don't.
You don't like?
I actually
you
don't. No, I think. Oh man, I think he just ebbs and flows, dude. He just. Him and RG3, like they say some of the weirdest stuff, dude.
RG going crazy.
Yeah.
One of the best ones is Mina. I know we're going off. I love Mina stuff. She's
I don't like her either, man. I just don't like anybody. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I like Mina. Mina's calm. Like, she's funny. Like, you can see that she watches the games. But Dan, sometimes I think it's just I take it personal when it comes to like the Bears.
He defends quarterback too much, Dan Orlovsky. Like, he'll be defending any quarterback in the NFL.
That's true. That is true, though.
Probably because he was a former quarterback that wasn't that good.
True.
Yeah, but he ran out of bounds.
I didn't know where the back of the end.
I've never done that, dude. I've also never played the NFL. So take that with how you will. I love it, DWC. I love all that. Ficky, I want to go to you here. Your key to the game or keys to the game here.
Oh man, where would someone like me go when it comes to keys to the game?
Don't you dare. All right, I'm about to mute you. If you go in these trenches again.
Where would someone? No, but look, this is out of all 3 games, right? This is the perfect game where that would happen because they have one of the worst run lines in the NFL easily. And they're out DeForest Buckner. Not saying we've been great at running because we haven't. And I'll show a chart here to show kind of where we're at. But if there's one opportunity where it's like all you have to do is run the fucking ball and get 80, 90 yards. You don't even need to go crazy. You will win this game. It literally starts there because you're probably not, if you're looking at the rest of the roster, you're probably not going to go against a worse defensive line now than the rest of the teams on the schedule. Even the Panthers, they have Clowney. They at least have someone, right? Leatu probably could be something pass rusher, but it's a rookie. Like, who do they have on there that you're concerned about? So please, trenches, please, because if you can't do it this game, not saying you can't later, it's going to be hard for me to have faith because now that is 3 games in a row, and this one is a gimme. So, yes, trenches for me, as always.
I think you're right, Ficky, with the trenches, especially like it's okay like to have one guy, but it's like the thing we've had the last couple weeks is I've been to multiple players, and not just players, but good to great players. So I think this trenches should be, like you said, if they can't get going here, we might have a problem for the rest of the season. But My key to the game here, man, I was going to go with Rome, and that matchup. Actually, the Colts secondary versus kind of the Bears receivers. And then, of course, the trenches is always important. But I'm going to go with kind of like the game itself, starting off hot because you're on the road in Indy. Last thing you want is to keep this crowd in it. So I think if Caleb and this Bears offense can, one, capitalize on the defense that I think is going to create an early turnover, but go up 14-0, go up 17-3, like do what kind of like the Titans did to you, right? Going to halftime, you're up 17-3, feel good about yourself, but don't get behind. One, God, do not fall behind. And two, I think you just want to take this crowd out, take this, you want to kind of stay ahead of the Colts instead of keeping this one either falling behind or even keeping it close, because then it's kind of a toss up. But I think there's probably going to be more Bears fans there. I've been in Lucas Oil before. I think they travel pretty well. I would be shocked if it isn't 50-50 or maybe probably 60-40 Bears. So you should be fine there, but I want them to get off to a hot start, not just on defense, but on offense, man. Like go through your first 3, 4, 5 drives and just get points. I don't care if that's, a touchdown and the rest are field goals, but just get on the board, stay ahead of the Colts. Because too often, not even last year, you never see the Bears really take a lead, right? And keep it. I know it's hard to do in the NFL, but I would like to, that's probably my key right there, is just get to a hot start and then try to maintain it, adjust, which they've been really good at.
I think that's spot on because this defense is good enough to hold a lead. It's just that they haven't been put in position.
Not even just hold the lead, Fick. Not even hold it. They can probably
add
to it, because if you force Anthony Richardson to play from behind and try to force a ball or two, that's where it can get out of hand, because you could have Tyreek Stevens, you could have Jalen Johnson, even Kyler Gordon making a play or a strip sack from Montez, or even Jervon Dexter. Allowing them to have that lead is something I don't think the Bears have had. Have they had a lead this year?
Besides the fourth quarter of the Titans game.
Yeah, that's at the end. So it's like,
you want to see these guys feast a little bit, where you have Anthony Richardson, who's not an accurate passer. In my opinion, I think he's obviously erratic at times. He obviously makes some huge plays, but this is where I think you're right, where you could kind of jump on these guys early and then allow the defense to kind of put it away, or at least add on to it and feel confident, throughout most of the game. So 0-2 Colts are going to be interesting. Now let's see here. Bold predictions. This one is
before we get to that, I want to pull up our chart just to kind of give like an overview, just to cap it off, to kind of show like where these teams are kind of compared when you're looking at the NFL. So as you can see here, we're doing a little football system here, but Colts passing, it's not great, but neither is ours, right? I don't think we've had a passer. I don't think Caleb's thrown over 150 yards yet in a game.
We didn't get a football, dude.
Yeah, we didn't even get one, bro. It's been that bad. Rushing on offense, they've actually done pretty well. I'd say they're like within the top 12, I think, of running, which is good. Rushing, we have it. And I think a lot of that is really offensive line, because we saw that like there's a couple times with Swift, like first downs, it would end up being 1st and 9 because he'd be tackled immediately, or we'd lose yards. So not great. So that leads me perfectly into blocking. Colts, first week they look good. Second week, not so much. But us, we know our blocking is probably the worst part of our team. We can't block anyone to save our lives, and it's going to get Caleb destroyed. Now this is where we're going to take advantage. As you can see in this bottom half, our defense versus their defense. Their pass rush with Buckner only got 1 football. Our pass rush has actually been really good. When you look at pressure rate, sacks, like we have a pretty good front, which is surprising, right? For the fact that we don't have a real DE2, right? We walked into the season thinking, hey, you would think that, maybe that's our biggest concern, but they've done a pretty decent job. Run defense has done well as well. Not as great as last year where we were like first, but again, it's still early in the season. So we're still in the top echelon. So I'm happy with that. And then we know that we have one of the best secondaries in the NFL. So 4 stars across the defense, all aboard. I'm hoping after this week, we can get a couple of those footballs on the offense, can we get like, well, at least one for a couple of them, and then maybe like 2 or 3? You know what I mean? I'm not asking for us after this game to be like, wow, we're one of the top offenses in the league, which wouldn't happen anyways. But like, can we crack top 20 for some of these categories where it's like we shifted ourselves enough where now it's like, okay, we're starting to see some progress, starting to see some things here. Even if the defense regresses, that's fine because they've been at such a high rate. They're like second for defense, and our offense is like 30th.
Can you bring that chart back up, Jack? I just want to look at it one more time. It's just so funny to see how low, like we had a 0 for passing and a 0 for blocking, 0 footballs for our, Spotify, Apple listeners. Like, it's a chart that Ficky cooked up that is just, it is a good chart, but it's not a good chart at the same time if you're looking at it from the Bears offensive perspective. But yeah, I think you look at it, you probably feel pretty good, kind of. I don't know. Like, if you look at the chart, you're like, man, are the Bears, they can't even score.
Here's the thing. If you look at it again, right, the problem is this. If you're looking at the first 4, right, you have what? There's 7 footballs for their offense in total. Or there's 6 footballs for their offense in total. There's 12 for us on defense. So when it comes to Colts offense versus Bears defense, we feel confident. I think we all feel that. You flip it though, our offense versus their defense, we have 2 for rushing and they have one, and they have none. So it's like horrible offense versus horrible defense.
The problem is, though,
somebody has to come out from this, right?
DWC, or anybody, you guys keep me in check here. I feel like the Bears offense is still a lot better than what it's been. Like, I can't believe that the talent they have. I think once they are able to block and, settle down and just, be able to actually stop a stunt or a blitzing, just to be able to calm down, be maybe average or above on the offensive line. Caleb needs to settle down. Rome needs to settle down, kind of, get some, catches over him. We got DJ Moore, who I think is still very, very good, but just getting on the same page, because you see these guys are close. If DJ and Caleb get on the same page, especially on those comebacks, right? Same with Rome. Like, those are yards that are left out there. So I think even though we have, 0 footballs on that graph that Ficky had here, I just think they are better than what they have shown. How do you feel about that, DWC?
Yeah, on paper, they're definitely better than what you guys gave them 1 football for the offense. Like, they're a lot better than that. With the blocking, I would agree. Yeah, they've been shit the entire season, but with the passing, like, we're going to become a lot better throughout the season. Like, there is no chance that Caleb has less than, 1,500 passing yards this season. Like, that's what he's on pace for right now. Like, there is no chance he's going to be this bad the entire season. You can bookmark that. Like, I just don't believe it based on what I saw in college football. So, especially with the,
you said you could bookmark it.
I agree, though.
Not playing well
in the comments. Like, he's still going to pass for above 3,000 passing yards, in my opinion. Like, with the weapons he has on his offense, if he's healthy the entire season, he should pass for 3K plus. And we just have not. I think the first game that we get everybody finally going, it's going to be like a snowballing effect where, like, the next game, like, it's going to keep on going. Like, we just have to get that first deep ball, that first play over the middle,
get that weight off their shoulders, that pressure.
30-yard run from DeAndre Swift. When all that comes, it's going to come back to back to back. It's just not been coming, so this year.
I think that's why it's important to not just to win this game and go 2-1, but to actually win it. Offense firing all cylinders, kind of get what you said, that snowball effect, but get everything done against Indy, where the deep ball connects, the running game's going well, the offensive line is, competent, and then keep the defense where it's been at, right? That would be a huge confidence boost, right? Heading into a relatively easy part of their schedule, where you want to take advantage and win these games. So let's see here. Ficky, do you have something?
No, I was going to say for sure. I think it's right. Like, just kind of get the things going. Excuse me. And I think I saw Chris Long and Kyle Long both on their own podcast talking about, like, how long does it take for a quarterback to kind of, like, get his, like, kind of understand, like, the workings of the NFL, right? Doesn't mean you hit your peak, but kind of being like, oh, I kind of understand how the game works. And they said it was like 3 to 4 games. So you're hoping that maybe we'll start to see it. Like, this is an easy enough opponent that hopefully this can be a game that kind of garners confidence, which then you can take and then start to avalanche that snowball for the remaining, that next 6-game stretch that we have.
Yeah.
I love it. So Caleb is the only Bears rookie quarterback to be starting from week 1, I think, in like a long ass time, right? So Trubisky was sitting for 4 games, Fields sat for a couple weeks, which doesn't help that much, obviously, but like even getting those extra weeks in of game prepping can help a quarterback. So Caleb starting right away, it's obviously going to be difficult. So I think that now we're going to see him hopefully settle into things.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point because he has, and he's. I know he hasn't been good. Like if you look at the stat box or the box score, it's not great, but there's been clips going around socials, guys that really know football talking about how, and you saw it during the live. Well, you were at the game, right? DWC.
I was at a watch party, so I was watching at a bar.
Oh, watch party. Well, you could hear Caleb at the line calling stuff out, right? Calling out the mic, shifting protections, and then in the all 22 that was circling around, you just see him being very vocal. Obviously it didn't work out at times because I don't know if the offensive line just got confused or they just weren't, obviously weren't all on the same page, but he is doing stuff as a rookie that I don't think a lot of teams actually ask of their rookie quarterback. Now, obviously you have to produce at the end of the day. It's, but I think that is encouraging. And I think other people are seeing it too, especially guys a lot smarter than us that have been around the game a long time saying, hey, this is pretty unusual for a rookie quarterback, and let alone the Bears organization giving him the keys and be like, hey, you're in charge of this stuff. I feel like that should be a good confidence, a really good sign that we're seeing from Caleb. So
for sure. It's week 2 as well. I know it hurts how we didn't expect. I think it was,
imagine if we were 0-2.
Facts. We had expectations. That's the problem. We actually came into the season with real expectations, go back circa 2019, right? And we haven't met them yet on the offensive side. So I think that's why we're come on. But I think DWC said, we'll start to, once it picks up, I'm thinking this game might be the catalyst to where we're okay, offense is starting to click. Then it's not the best offense out there, but there's hope that maybe by the end of the season, we're able to compete. So.
Yeah. Wait, I think that's a perfect transition. Bold predictions. We also have some new graphs here as well.
For sure. And before we get to that, I want to give we're keeping track of at least Dave and I's bold predictions. Yeah. And just like Caleb Williams with touchdown passes, we're both 0-2 right now. 0-4-2. We have not hit on our bold predictions yet, but that all changes this week for sure. That all changes this week.
I don't know.
Someone's getting it right. Someone's getting it right.
I do love those graphics, but we are going to change my my headshot. It's way too serious, especially if I'm over here saying Caleb Williams 4 touchdowns. I have to have a better headshot than that.
You're locked in, bro.
Locked in for the season with with that photo. But no, I want to start with DWC's prediction, which I'm going to let you explain. We're going to bring up the graph and DWC explain yourself why you believe this.
Yeah, so I have Caleb passing for 2+ passing touchdowns. I don't even think that's that bold of a prediction. It's probably not as bold as you guys, but based on how bad he has done so far this year, it is definitely kind of bold to predict 2 touchdowns in one game passing the football. But I've kind of explained it already. But based on how bad this Colts defense has been, based on us winning our matchups on the outside, there will be opportunities for Caleb to attack downfield in this game. I think he could start this game off hopefully on the first drive with a 20-yard pass touchdown, 30-yard pass touchdown. It's definitely possible with how bad this Colts defense is. And I think we will be getting a lot of extra possessions as well because our defense is going to be forcing some turnovers. So 2 touchdowns passing should not be that hard. I think that should be, an expectation, honestly, out of Caleb at this point to be getting, stat lines like that.
That's so sad.
Such a Bear thing, though. 2+ touchdowns. But you're right. It is freaking bold, especially how they start the season. Ficky, do you want to go with yours next? Throw it up on the screen.
So you throw mine. So kind of in the same boat.
Look at y'all, man.
Caleb scores 3 touchdowns. Now, I don't care how he does it. You just got to. DWC talked about it. Dave's talked about it. This defense is not good.
Don't care if they're crawling in, walking in, or
I don't
running
care.
in.
You can fall in. I do not care. You could pick up someone. DeAndre Swift could fumble into the end zone and Caleb jumps on it. I do not care. We just need to get the mental aspect of you score touchdowns. You scored 53 in college. I know it's college. It's not the NFL, but bro, you scored touchdowns. That's why you went number 1. You know how to score. And I know there's some, Keenan Allen drop. Of course, it happened to the Bears. Rome's was a little bit harder, but like, he catches that, then we don't have this type of discussion. But we just got to figure out a way for Caleb to get in the end zone, just because going back to DWC's point is like, it's going to be a catalyst. It's going to spark a flame. And that's what we need, because we've seen Caleb look a little bit deflated. I'm not saying that he's still not confident, but obviously the offense hasn't looked how it wants. So it's like this guy's going to be all jolly and ready to go. So I just want to, once he gets that confidence back, or like he has the ability to have it because they're scoring touchdowns, I think Caleb with confidence and that, a little bit of cockiness, I think that's when we're going to start to see this offense shine.
I love it. I like it. A lot of Caleb. Now, my bold prediction is it's not Caleb, but it does include him. Now, I have the Bears scoring 30-plus points. I won't give away my full prediction here. We'll get to that here in a minute. But the reason I have them scoring 30 is not just because of the offense having a good game, but I think the Bears defense is going to get a touchdown as well. So that if the Bears offense, gets 23, I think the Bears defense will at least get a pick six or a recovery, scoop and score, something along those lines. I think Anthony Richardson is very talented, but I think he is very susceptible to kind of turnover-worthy plays that we talked about earlier. He is tied for second in the league with those turnover-worthy throws, tied with Caleb. So I think the Bears defense is very opportunistic this year. I think they're going to carry on that momentum, that theme they've been doing, which is, attacking the ball, and hopefully we get a turnover that leads to a score. So I could be totally wrong here.
Well, we have been. We haven't
That's
been
true.
right. Yes.
Let's not bring it up, but we have over to start.
I was going to say a little bonus point. Who do you have scoring a touchdown on the defensive side? Were you thinking of anyone in general? I'm assuming someone in the secondary,
I have no idea.
Right?
No, I mean, honestly, I think Montez could get a strip and recovery, score or something like that. Because, I mean, we saw I don't know. I don't know exactly who gets it. That's kind of up in the air. I just want someone to do it. Love to see Jalen because, that would make that contract continuously look better because I think Jalen's going to still have a really, really good year if they throw at him. So we'll see if Richardson has, I guess the guts to do that. I don't know. I think he does. We'll see. But, yeah, 30-plus points. It was my bold prediction. We'll see how we are with that.
For once, I hope I lose. Well, no, because if we get 30, then I think we all might.
Well, that means Caleb's going to get a touchdown.
He's got to get at least at least one, hopefully 2 passing, and then 3 in total, and we all can just walk away with a win. Before we move on, though, we do have a super chat. I want to pull that up here. Well, Jack, if you don't mind, from our man Tito, $5 on YouTube. Appreciate Tito. So he said, I watched the 49ers game last season because CMC was on fantasy, and when Pryor was starting, CMC had his best rushing game. Dude bullies D lineman. Only problem is was that Pryor when he was on 49ers, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a 49ers tax just because of Shanahan. Everybody who goes on the 49ers offense plays at their best ability, right? That's coaching. I think there's been talks about Chris Morgan, our offensive line coach, how all the offensive linemen leave the Bears. And then not saying they're great, but they do better. You know what I mean? I think, who was it? Lucas Patrick had like the highest, and take it as it is with PFF, but he had the highest PFF score. We saw with what happened with, what a
guard. Disappointing signing he was,
for sure.
Dude.
And too many injuries too. That one sucked. But
been okay if he didn't get injured that often.
That thumb to start in the training camp, I think it was, right?
He never recovered.
That would just start off worse.
Will he recover now?
What about what's his name too? The guard who went to Pittsburgh.
Cody Whitehair?
No.
James Daniels, right?
James Daniel, yeah. He ended up playing. I mean, he wasn't bad on the Bears, but he ended up playing better when he went to when he went to Tomlinson. So maybe it is a coaching thing, hopefully it gets resolved. But yeah, it kind of sucks. Everyone comes here and just sucks.
It does. But yeah. Well, hopefully that changes this week, right? Score predictions. We'll finish with this, and we're going to go to and then we'll do headlines for Monday. Let's start with DWC. Our guest here. Yeah. Let's pull up his graphic.
Yeah, I'm predicting 24-17 Bears. Not as optimistic as Dave on the offense, but only a touchdown away. I mean, it's possible. It's possible to get 30. If we get that defensive touchdown, like Dave was saying. But yeah, I think the Colts are favored in this game, I believe, by 1.5 points or whatever that was. So that doesn't make sense to me either. I'm definitely pounding the Bears money line on this one.
Well, I mean, the Bears do have 0 footballs on offense.
Yeah, good point.
They looked at our chart and said, "Well,
yeah, Vegas seen it."
Point there, but it's not even going to be that much of a home field advantage for the Colts, like Dave said. Like, there's going to be a lot of Bears fans there. I think the Bears fans are going to be pretty loud, and with Anthony Richardson being a pretty raw quarterback, he's only started like 15 games since high school. I forgot what the exact number is, but it's like a very low amount of games since high school. Like, he is basically still like a rookie quarterback. So he's going to be making rookie quarterback mistakes. He's going to be throwing picks in this game. I'm predicting 3 picks actually from our defense, which that could have been my bold prediction, actually. 3 picks.
Hell yeah.
But
that's crazy. I'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, with our offense, hopefully getting the run game going, with the passing attack, hopefully being at least average, I think the Bears could easily win this game 24-17.
Love it. Vic?
Okay, not to diss on DWC, but I don't know if I can stand us only beating the Colts by 7. It could easily happen. It's reasonable. Like, that could happen based off how our offense has looked. But I got to have us winning by double digits. So I'm going 27-13, all right? Because I don't know if I can take a game where we walk out from here and still being like, oh, my God, this offense still sucks. Like, you know what I mean? Because if we're only getting, what was it, 17 you had? No, what was yours?
24 for the
24-17.
I mean, yeah, if they're all 3 touchdowns or offense, maybe you feel a little bit better than just the defense didn't hold up well, which is fine. I could take that, but I need a little bit more. Like Dave said, like, we need to come out the gate and then just kind of hold the lead. If it's like, let's say it was 24-7 most of the game, and then like they kind of get 10 points in the 4th, whatever, I'm okay with that. But we need to walk away from this game feeling like we were dominant. You know what I mean?
Imagine they dropped like 40 plus. I mean, Super Bowl's back on the board. Chicago's, saved. Like, that. Seriously, it would be that electrifying. We need that, man. You would feel good about yourself.
That's the problem, though, right? Before Dave, you give yours. This team, because the offense hasn't been, hasn't met expectations, right? We could easily see a game where it's like 17-13. Easily. We could all see that and us winning or losing 13-17. We could see that. But there is also a possibility. We haven't seen it yet, but just knowing the weapons you have, this team is capable, if the O-line blocks, that's important, to hit 40. I know some people are out there probably like, oh, these Ficky's on crack, right? But it is possible. It is. I'm not saying it's a high chance, but with the weapons you have and the type of quarterback that you have, if you give him enough time and the data backs it up when he has a clean pocket, the man delivers. So please, offensive line, please just block. Okay, that's my low rant. Dave, your turn.
I was wondering if I was going to get to my prediction here, Ficky. My gosh. No, I love it. 31-21 Bears. Yeah, not much to say. I think it would be kind of shocking here. So I think the Bears are on an 8-game streak of holding their opponent to 20 and under. So this would break that. Obviously, I just think the Colts will score. I think Anthony Richardson and his legs are going to be kind of dynamic, along with, he does make some crazy throws. So I think scoring 3 touchdowns is going to be fair. Of course, the Bears have been really good this year, holding to the Texans just to 19 points. And CJ Stroud is very, very, very good. I would say leaps way ahead of Anthony Richardson, and they gave him a lot of trouble. So I do have the Bears just scoring 31. So I know I said 30 plus, but we'll keep it 31-21, 10-point win. I'm hoping for even more than that. I know that would be insanely great to score 30. I just really hope that this is a game where it's like, okay, what we saw and what we thought in the offseason kind of comes to fruition, and you kind of get that, the players are going to feel like something's, kind of off their shoulders, all that weight. But I think us fans be like, fuck, thank God. Like, we weren't kind of crazy thinking that this could be a very electric offense, right? So I think we need to see that here in Indy. Please, that's my plea to Chicago Bears to do it this week. So
I have 2 questions for you both. First one is for the defense and how well it's been playing. I think we understand how well it's been playing, right? But I think while Dave was talking, I was thinking about it. I'm like, they really did hold CJ Stroud to like not much. Sure, they scored a lot of points, but you guys realized all 4 field goals were like 50 yards or more.
Yeah.
Like their kicker Fairbairn went crazy, right? And
On
actually,
my fantasy team, he scored 20 points for me.
crazy. Also, not to get too off track, but I think the NFL right now for 50-yard kicks are 35 for 37, and the only person who's missed both of them is Justin Tucker, which is crazy because normally he makes it. So the NFL is hitting 50-yarders like it's nothing. But I say that because it's the defense. Sure, gave up points, but they barely let the Houston Texans cross the 50-yard line. That's impressive because that is a really, really good offense with Mixon, Nico Collins, one of the best wide receivers in the league, and CJ Stroud. So do you guys feel like, I didn't think about that obviously post game, but like hearing it, like they really kind of held their own. Do you feel better? Like this defense might like really, really be legit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance we could even like only allow 3 points in this game. Like, obviously, I'm not going to predict it because I don't want to look stupid at the end of the game. You know, if some big play happens by accident, but
clip it.
Paper, you know, we should honestly be close to allowing a shutout in this game. Like, I think that's totally possible with how, you know, the Colts have not been bad on offense, but they have a raw quarterback. You know, we have a really damn good defense, and like Ficky mentioned, like the Texans had like Tank Dell, they had Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins, right? Like 3 of the best receivers in football, and they could barely move the ball past half field. So, you know, I know the Colts also have pretty decent weapons, but like Alec Pierce is still young. Michael Pittman Jr. is, you know, okay, but I don't think they have the weapons the Texans did. So if we held that team to only, you know, what was it, like 19? Like we should be holding the Colts technically to like below 14, you know, you would think, but it is the NFL, so anything can happen.
And Dave, this question is now for you, right? So knowing that, I agree with you, DWC, knowing that we both think this defense is really elite. There's been a lot of talk this week about, oh, this team sucks. This team sucks. It's because of Flus. It's because of Flus. It's because of Flus. Flus obviously runs the defense side of the team. The only thing that is working. Do you feel, right, at this moment, not projecting how we play the next 6 games or whatever, is Flus's seat warm or hot?
No. I don't think it's hot or warm. I think he's going to be here no matter what for the rest of the year. However, I think he does need that offense to look better because the coaching cycle next year, Ben Johnson,
Cliff probably.
Well, maybe Cliff. All I'm saying, even just if it was just Ben Johnson alone, it's an offensive league. Caleb is the main priority, and if Flus cannot get it right, and I know it's not all his fault because it's a counterpart to Shane Waldron. He was brought here for a reason, to work with Caleb and to get this thing off and going. So I think Flus is really just a top 5, top 3 defensive coordinator. However, he just needs to get the entire team firing on all cylinders because right now this defense has been good since like the last 8 games of last year. Now starting off hot 2 games in, but his team's 1-1. I mean, that Titans game, I think you lose that last year because of I just don't think they would be able to pull themselves out of that deficit. So you're seeing the growth, but now it's kind of unfair, but you have to win games. You have to win games and you have to score points. That's what they need to see.
Isn't it crazy though? It's not like, only defense is doing well. Special teams is also locked in. Like Cairo's playing well. Obviously, Torrey's doing well. DeAndre Carter's returning punts well, right? Minus the one Valus Muff. It's just funny or maybe sad how you look at it.
It's the standard though.
No, I'm saying though, it's like special teams looks good, right? Defense looks great. And literally the only missing piece is the same missing piece year after year after year. So if we can get that to average, like we've talked about, like you don't even have to be amazing. No,
I don't want average.
I know
I don't even want average, dude. I want something we've never seen before, man. I want just
average probably wins you 13 games though this year. Like,
that's true. That's true.
That's true. We could be the best team.
Might be greedy.
How the defense is playing right now, we just need 24 points per game to win.
That's it. It's not even much. Give me 270. No, give me like 290 total, or maybe, you have to break probably 300 total offense. So whether it's 270 passing, 50 to 60 rushing, like if you can do that, that's not even crazy.
I don't even need yards because I just want
touchdowns,
points.
whatever. It's
just give me points, dude. Because I think the defense give me some short field, hopefully, but just instead of like we've seen the last 2 weeks where you get a fumble inside I think it was the Tennessee 40, right? And you end up kicking a field goal from like the 44. because you can't get any yards, you can't move the ball. Like, just go score points, whether it's 300 yards a game or just put up 28 points on 250 yards. I don't care. Just
That's true.
Score, dude.
And we saw an issue with
stretch
Houston.
the field, and make me feel good. Make Monday a little bit easier.
For sure. But
anyways,
you're right though, Dave, because I think in Houston, they had a couple times where they had a short field thanks to the defense, and they went 3 and out. I think on both of them. So
false starts and that'll kill you.
Tons of penalties. Yep.
Sacks or blown, assignments. It's just not great. So we were going to go ahead and do headline on Monday, but I think we're going to scratch that. We're already over an hour. Do we have any questions before we go, Jack or Ficky, that we can bring up? Otherwise,
let's go through the shout. Yeah, let's do shout outs first, and then we can do any further questions. So if you don't mind, pull those up. All right, so we got Gage, who's a member of the Patreon, #OG. Appreciate it, Gage.
Hell yeah.
And then Vizzo Joe with the #OG. Appreciate that. Love the Avi. Then we got Plastic Rockets with the #OG and #3boys. That's what I'm fucking talking about. It's official. Mr. James here said #OG. We need a win Sunday. Still haven't forgotten the Colts for 06. Definitely remember that game. Shout out Hester. Anything else? That was it.
I think that's it.
And then any other questions we can kind of run through real quick. I think we can all just take one. That's cool. I'll take this first one. Nick Rossi on Twitter said, do you guys think we should move Jenkins to right guard? Let's not move anyone. Just make it work with the guys we have. Next one, let's go to the HVAC sales guy. Love that. And this one's for you, DWC. Darnell Wright, sophomore slump.
I think he's playing injured, honestly, right now. Like, he had an offseason injury, so I feel like he's not going to be bad, like this bad the entire rest of the year. And like last game, he had one horrible rep at the end of the game, which obviously we're going to talk about that a lot, but I don't think it's going to be that bad the entire season.
I agree. He might be average. I don't see a slump. Okay, Dave, this one's for you. Mr. James on YouTube said, are you willing to give up this elite defense for Caleb to throw for 4,000 yards?
See ya, Brisker. See ya, Gordon. Trade them all. I'll take the 4K, dude.
Dave's so excited. He might give up his family just to get 4,000.
No, I wouldn't do that, man.
He's like, give me something. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, then we got Jimmy Reardon. I'll take this one on Twitter. Said, do we trade midseason for interior offensive line? Fun fact, you don't see a lot of trades for linemen because actually, there's a big discourse about it right now in the NFL. The biggest problem with the offensive passing right now is that they believe that the offensive play is lacking. So when you find someone good, teams don't let them go. So should we? Yes. Will it happen? Doubtful. All right, let's go to Rod D. This one's for you, DWC. He said, if Nate Davis doesn't play, where would you put Matt Pryor at which guard?
It would have to be a right guard. Like we said earlier, we probably don't want to move things around too much. So you probably don't want to move Tevin back to right guard, even though it would be pretty cool to see Tevin and Darnold right on the same side. Big Mullers on the right side.
Yeah, that would be dope. Okay, and final one here for you, Dave. B. What a name. B. Love that.
Dude.
What do y'all think of Tyreek's performance last week?
So fun fact. Tyreek, I feel like so actually last year, I'm very worried on Twitter when it comes to Tyreek because I don't want to critique him or anything like that because I think it was his rookie season. He got in a shouting match with the DB, and it was a second week in a row where he had something extra on the sidelines. And I was like, oh, you can't do that. That's all I said. Well, I got blocked by him, and then later on,
someone on this team blocked.
Yeah, later on his rookie season, I realized I was because the Bears posted his tag on how you can tag a player on something. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, let me look. I click it. I'm blocked. I'm like, what the hell? And then that same week, I think he won some award, or he just had a great week. And I had all this tape on him. I was praising him. I don't really say anything bad about the players because I know they're human, all that stuff. I try to keep it tame, Anyways, then he unblocks me, retweets my tweets, talking good. I'm like, what the hell? And I was like, I'm on your side this whole time. Anyways, last week with the Texans, he pokes the guy in the eye, right? I tweeted about it. I didn't say anything. I said it was funny. I'm not going to critique him at all because I do not want to get blocked by Tyreek Stevenson. But I think last week there was signs of him being great and then signs of him, kind of getting beat or even the extra stuff where luckily the ref saw the reaction. I think it was from Nico Collins, right? Yeah. That's just good timing, of course. But those 15 yards, like say Stevenson gets, it's a big play by Caleb, or not Caleb, it wouldn't be the start, but there's a big play on defense, right? But then it's negated because of like a, unnecessary roughness or unsportsmanlike contact that can keep a drive alive. And then you end up giving up points. There's so much that come from it. So for me, I think Tyreek is just so damn good, but then there's little moments like that. And then also where it's like, he gets beat sometimes, but at the same time, I'll live with it because he's just so good. I think he has a chance to be even higher ceiling than Jalen. Like I know that kind of seems crazy to say, but I just think he's a little bit better of an athlete and he's a ball hawk. I really truly believe that. So,
but he also went against a top unit. Like I believe two of the plays he got. Yeah, I believe two of the plays he got beat was against Stephon. Like, and then one was Nico. Yeah. So Nico's the number 1 wide receiver in the league right now. So
these receivers are going to get you. Like they're too damn good. You cannot cover
Jalen. Jalen locks down the crazy. But I think he's gonna be fine. And then let's talk to another for sure. And then let's talk about another second year here. And this will be the final question. So, and I'll answer this one. Is Gordon Dexter or Javon Dexter progressing? And I would say, like I think they talked highly about him in camp, and he's shown all of that in the first 2 games. A little slow first half in the first week, but like since then, he's looked pretty good. So I have no complaints.
Or 17 sacks so far, 1 sack per game. So,
hey, look,
I'll take that.
We will take it. Who needs DE2 when you got DT1? You know what I mean? So,
absolutely. Well, hey, we'll get out of here. DWC has a college football 25 game to play here, and I'll be watching. Share that. What was that, Ficky? Did you say something? I thought I did something with headphones. It was the music.
It was the music. It's all good.
All right. Apologies. But yeah, shout out to DWC, of course, hopping on. You know where to find him on Twitter. His @'s here on the middle of the screen. Of course, his channel is linked in the description. And we appreciate it, bro. Thank you for hopping on. It's always fun.
Always a fun time.
Sure. Great insights. Give him a follow. Great stuff.
And also, if you are bored, go watch his stream right now. What is your stream? DWC?
I'll put it's just a DWC Prods on Twitch. You guys can watch me. Hopefully not try to lose.
I'm watching that. He had perhaps one of the best games.
I was so mad at that thing though, man.
It was he lost on what was it? A field goal or something like that?
Field goal, yeah. I choked 3 field goals away on my end because it was going crazy.
It's so hard to kick field goals on that game, bro. Dude. I'm like, am I having a seizure or what? It's like, whole
going forward every single time.
Yeah. Fun fact: I watched DWC's full game, and so then I played the next one, and I was like, "Ain't no way in hell I'm attempting a field goal." So I actually tried though. I was like, I brought the kicking unit out. It was like a 35-yarder, and that shit was moving. And I was like, called timeout, went for it. I was like, hell no. But yeah, it was funny to see him struggle. I was like, I felt terrible too. He gave up a punt return as well. Oh, it was brutal. But yeah, shout out to him. Go follow, watch his stuff right now. Give him some encouragement. Yeah, it'd be fun. So again, follow us. All our socials are in the description. We'll be back on Sunday afternoon to recap this game. And of course, check out DWC for his recaps as well. I'm sure you'll be going live. So appreciate y'all, and we'll see you hopefully after a dominant win.
Peace.
Hell yeah. Bear down.